All right, welcome back to the channel. I have some things to discuss with you people out there. A few weeks ago, I asked for your input. I presented a couple problems on the homestead with moving some wood around, talked about a few ideas that I had, and I asked for your ideas to share. Maybe I'd get some good ideas. Maybe I would get some good pictures and plans or something that would help make my life easier. What I learned from all of the 80 to 90 comments that I received over the last couple weeks is that some of you are a little crazy. That's okay. I got some good ideas and I got some not so good ideas. I'm gonna share some of those with you guys today. I have printed out some of my favorites, and there were a lot. This was one of the videos I got quite a few comments on. If you haven't seen the video, you might want to pause this, and I will put a link somewhere in the YouTube system to go and check that video out. It was a few weeks ago. You can look at my channel and go to videos and look at the, I said, I have a problem and I need your help. That was the title. And at the end, I will tell you there's one comment that the one person, at least one, there were maybe two, that actually understood the assignment well and gave me a really good idea. We're going to start with some of the wildest ideas and some of the most involved, and then we'll move to some of the other wild ideas, and then I'll show you the solution that I chose as the way forward with this whole endeavor. People's YouTube names are silly, so I'm probably going to mispronounce most of these. Eat 'em up 44. They said you should use a winch, like others have said, on a track, like a mine cart. You could even automate it. The tracks could be inset in your driveway to not make a huge bump. You could even use PVC like roller coasters on the home DIY roller coasters. This was actually a comment that I got from several other people as well, something similar. Theotech1 says, just make a mini railroad track with a mini train engine and a wood car. It'd be so much fun. Laying the track all over the property and driving the train would be exciting every time you have to load the boiler. That's what I would do. I'll tell you what, that does sound like a lot of fun. And many of those suggestions that had to do with building tracks and mine carts and other kinds of things, it was a little more involved than I was looking for, although probably the most fun idea, maybe just not the most practical. Here's a good one. I suggest you use a snowblower with an automatic traction and put the barrel part of a wheelbarrow on top of the snowblower. No. Here's a good one. You still have the avalanche? Cut the bed off and put a flatbed on it with sides. Well, Dave Wagoneer 5525, I no longer have the Avalanche, unfortunately. I sold the Avalanche for $1,000, or maybe less than that, to somebody in need, and it's long gone. Hopefully still on the road somewhere, still holding itself together. But I have a question. If I were to take the pickup bed of a pickup truck and cut it off and replace it with a flatbed and then put sides on it, wouldn't that be a pickup truck bed? The next couple ideas I think were to move the wood from our wood pile over to the boiler. This is a day-to-day solution that I was looking for. I usually use a wheelbarrow for this, and there were lots of really great and interesting solutions for this problem as well. Yorkie222 says rig up a conveyor belt. Alternatively, 2 pulleys and an endless rope hauling a cart. I'm not sure that I can build a conveyor belt that is 30 or 40 yards long and could easily be moved around. This is one that I saw quite often. Another person says you can make a conveyor belt from the wood pile to the wood burner. This was a solution I saw quite often. In fact, someone else suggested that I would buy a conveyor belt, similar to like a sugar beet conveyor belt or maybe a hay bale conveyor belt, and I could use that to move the wood from one place to another. It's not a bad idea. I'm just not sure that that is a feasible thing to just keep in my driveway all year round, to just move some wood around for a few months. Ryan Fisher 5571 says this. Some sort of winch and tow. Ryan, I hope you meant winch and not wench. Some sort of winch and tow option sounds like best for moving the wood, but you still need to get over it to make something instead of snowshoes. I don't know. Make a sled that you can pull with an electric winch. Another very common solution for many of you was to build a electric winch system of some sort. Someone else suggested that I build 2 poles on each side, one at the wood boiler, one at the wood stack, and I run a cart on a winch that would just drag across the ground on a sled. I would load the wood, and then I would go to the other end, and I would flip a switch, and it would just drag the wood cart across. That's not a horrible solution, although again, maybe a little bit more involved. And in practicality, I'm not sure that would actually work as well as you are thinking. There's no perfect line of sight from any of these areas, whether pulling wood up from the valley or pulling wood from the wood stack to the boiler. And so having a cable system pulling some kind of a sled or cart or trailer or something like that really wouldn't work. I would have to have multiple lines that would pull it from one area to another area to another area because there's no straight line between. And I would also have to drag this cart across the ground in the snow on a sled, or have something with wheels when there's no snow on the ground. So that solution ends up not being horrible, but a little bit more than I am ready to invest. Sparky's handler says this: what happened to the Kubota tractor bucket? You've really become a whiner. Move to the city. Unsubbed. Well, Sparky, you will be missed. Not really. One of my favorite suggestions that came up quite often, and was maybe just a little bit overboard, Canines and Company says 2 words: aerial tramway. Many other people had this same suggestion. There was many people that said things like, you should build a zip line system between one tree and another tree, or put a pole up next to the wood boiler, and you should run a cable between the two, and then you should hang a tram from a pulley with a basket on the bottom, and then some kind of electric motor system that would pull the cart from along the pulley from one side to the other, and you would take it to one side and fill it up, and you press a button, and then it would come over to the wood boiler, and you would unload it, and then you press another button, and it would just kind of carry itself right back, just like a ski lift. So I could build a ski lift at my house, and I could put lots of electrical motors and pulls in the ground, and cables and rigging, and that just seemed like a little bit overkill for what I'm looking for, but I appreciate the ideas. Now, the closest thing I got to a feasible solution, although probably one of the most labor intensive, was from several people, including Celador11. Celador, you have been following along for a very long time. I recognize your name, and I appreciate you being here for the homestead adventures all these years. You suggested, you said to know the platform that we have the tote rack full of wood on, build more platform, extend it over to level ground, maybe grade and gravel up a bit once you've extended it. It makes more sense to stick with the method you already have proven to work, just make that method more safe. Many people suggested something similar to this. They said you need to stop transporting wood so much, you need to move the wood closer to the boiler. I agree with you 100%, and that is a future solution. The long-term solution will be to level out a good size area around the boiler, make more parking spaces there at the edge of our driveway, but also have a place where I could store maybe 6 or 7 or 8 full cords of wood right next to the boiler. That certainly is a great idea, and that certainly is a long-term plan. Not something I'm gonna be able to do this year. Whenever I can find somebody who can bring me some dump truck loads of dirt, I'll get that done. And the number one solution, the one that I was looking for, the one that I had hoped I would get more ideas on. What I was looking for was ideas for designs for some type of logging wagon that could be pulled behind the tractor for the hauling the wood up from the valley. And then I was also looking for some motorized wagon or cart that I could easily use to just help me move the wood back and forth from the stack to the boiler. I was kind of looking for some ideas along those lines. This person understood that very well, and they said this. This is Costin George's CU-R7R. Good name. For problem number 2, Eastern Europeans have a good solution. Search for Caruda Lemne to get an idea of how it looks. It's a carriage made of mostly scrap pipes. Now we're talking welded to a frame. I can do this. And uses basic van-sized wheels. Probably find that in the scrapyard. They're also heavy duty and last a long time. You can pull that with the Kubota. This is the perfect idea. So I looked this up online, and it turns out that people have been doing this all over Eastern Europe with scrap stuff for many years. And this is exactly what I'm looking for. I want to build a cart that is on some kind of wheels that I can easily pull behind a truck or a tractor or whatever motorized vehicle I have that will pull it, that I can fill up with wood, and I can bring it up the hill to the wood boiler from the valley, or I can use a smaller version of that that's maybe motorized or pulls behind the golf cart to move the wood from the wood boiler or the wood pile to the wood boiler. So Costin, Georges, we get each other. Thanks, man. The only other idea that I kind of liked that several of you suggested was putting an IBC tote, using the IBC tote frames and having some kind of a trailer that holds those. So I could make a special wheeled or sledded trailer that holds those IBC totes. I could load them up. Maybe I could even split all the wood and everything right down in the valley, put it in those totes, and then that could just be hauled right up and stacked. That would require me buying more IBC totes, which are rather expensive. They cost about $100 a piece in our area here, so I would probably need 40 of them, and so you're looking at quite a bit of money. I really do appreciate all your ideas and all your feedback. It was a lot of fun reading through all your comments. It always is. So crazy or not, keep the comments coming. I always appreciate it. I will have some of these ideas put into reality here in the next coming few weeks or months. And so stick around for those future ideas on the channel as we weld some things together, take some trips to a junkyard and try to find all the pieces and parts we need to make something cool. Thumbs up on today's video. Let me know what you think. What do you think of what do you think of everyone else's comments? I'd love to hear from you guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.